I stood in front of the mirror, adjusting my bridesmaid dress for the 100th time, trying to hide what I desperately needed to keep secret for just one more day. My hand instinctively moved to my stomach. 12 weeks along, but nobody knew. Nobody except Layla. I'm Serenity, and this is the story of how my sister's wedding became the day that changed everything. You look beautiful, Avery said, appearing behind me with a champagne glass. Though you might want to fix your mascara before the ceremony. I dabbed at my eyes, forcing a smile. Thanks, I just need a minute. She's not worth your tears, Avery whispered, squeezing my shoulder. I still can't believe she's making you wear pale yellow. She knows it makes you look washed out. The door burst open, and there stood Layla in her designer wedding gown, looking like she'd stepped out of a bridal magazine. Ladies, it's almost time. Her eyes locked with mine in the mirror, and I saw something there that made my blood run cold. A glint of malice disguised as sisterly concern. Serenity, darling, she cooed. Are you feeling okay? You look a bit puffy. I'm fine, I replied, gripping the vanity table until my knuckles turned white. Mom's looking for you, she said, twirling a strand of her perfect blonde hair. Something about the seating arrangements. I nodded and headed for the door, but Layla caught my arm. Oh, and Serenity? I hope you're not planning on stealing any attention today. It is my wedding, after all. The threat in her voice was clear as crystal. I found Mom in the church hall, frantically reorganizing place cards. There you are. Help me move the Richardsons to table 8. We can't have them next to the Petersons after that horrible business with their dogs. Mom, I started, my voice shaking. I need to tell you something. Not now, sweetie. The photographer wants family photos in 10 minutes, and your father's disappeared to God knows where. I spotted Dad hiding behind a column, loosening his bow tie and checking his phone. He caught my eye and winked. For a moment, I considered running to him, spilling everything, but the wedding coordinator's voice cut through the chaos. Places, everyone. We're starting in 5. As I took my position behind Layla, I felt my phone buzz. A text from her. Don't worry, sis. I'll make sure everyone knows your little secret soon enough. Consider it my wedding gift to you. My heart stopped. The music started, and I realized this perfect wedding was about to become a battlefield I never saw coming. The reception hall fell silent as Layla tapped her champagne glass, that picture-perfect smile plastered across her face. Before we continue celebrating, I'd like to make a special announcement about my dear sister. My stomach lurched. Avery grabbed my hand under the table. Serenity has always been so secretive, Layla continued, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. But I think it's time we all congratulate her on her little surprise. She's going to be a mommy. The room erupted in gasps and whispers. I felt hundreds of eyes turn to me, burning through my skin. Mom's champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor. Who's the father? Someone called out. Before I could move or speak, Layla answered. Oh, that's the best part. She won't say. Isn't that just scandalous? I stood up so quickly my chair toppled backward. The room spun as I rushed toward the exit, but a firm hand caught my arm. It was Dad. Come with me, he said quietly, leading me to the hotel's empty conference room. I'm so sorry, Dad, I choked out. I was going to tell you all after the wedding. I didn't want to stop apologizing, he interrupted, pulling out his phone. Call this number, now. I stared at the screen. Victoria Sterling, CEO. That's Joey's aunt, I said, confused. Layla's new mother-in-law? Dad's eyes were steel. She's also the head of Sterling Enterprises. She's been looking for someone to lead their new marketing division. Someone with your exact qualifications. But I don't understand. Victoria called me last week. She's seen your freelance work. She also sees right through Layla's facade. He squeezed my shoulder. Call her. Tonight. My phone buzzed. Ira was calling. I answered on speaker. I just heard what happened, he said, his voice tight with anger. I'm on my way. No, I replied, suddenly clear-headed. Stay at the hospital. Your patients need you. I'm okay. Serenity, Ira insisted. That's our baby she just announced to everyone. I should be there. Dad's eyebrows shot up, but he smiled. The pediatric surgeon? Good choice, sweetheart. Another buzz. A text from Victoria Sterling herself. Heard what happened. My offer still stands. Let's talk about your future. Both of yours. I looked at Dad, then at my phone, then at my reflection in the window. For the first time today, I stood straight and tall. You know what, Ira? Stay at work. I have some calls to make. I turned to Dad. I think it's time everyone learned what real success looks like. 3 weeks after the wedding disaster, I sat in Victoria's corner office overlooking the city skyline. She slid a contract across her glass desk. Marketing director, full benefits, 6 figures, she said, tapping the paper. Plus complete creative control of our rebranding campaign. Why me? I asked. There must be hundreds of qualified. Because you have fire, she interrupted. And because I've watched Layla manipulate her way through life long enough. Joey might be blind to it, but I'm not. My phone buzzed. Avery. Get home now. Found something you need to see. Sign it, Victoria said, offering her Mont Blanc pen. Show them all what you're really made of. I did. An hour later, I walked into my apartment to find Avery pacing, laptop open on my coffee table. Remember when you asked me to dig into Layla's finances for the wedding planning? She clicked through several screens. Well, I found something else. Look at these emails. My eyes widened as I read. Messages between Layla and Mom, plotting to sabotage my previous job interviews. Conversations with potential clients, warning them against hiring me. Years of systematic manipulation. There's more, Avery said, pulling up another folder. These are from last month. Screenshots of texts between Layla and Joey's ex-girlfriend appeared. My sister had been feeding her information, encouraging her to disrupt the wedding. But the ex had threatened to expose Layla instead, leading to a hefty payoff. She's been playing everyone, I whispered, even her own husband. My phone rang. Ira. I just finished my shift, he said. Coming over, and Serenity? I have news. 20 minutes later, Ira burst through the door, waving hospital documents. Remember that charity gala Layla chaired last year? He spread the papers on the table. The one for children's cancer research? Half the donations never made it to the hospital. They were redirected to a personal account. Avery whistled. That's embezzlement. We can't just sit on this, Ira said, taking my hand. Think about how many families were counting on that money. I looked at the evidence scattered across my table. Years of deception laid bare. Then I thought about Victoria's offer, about my baby, about every time Layla had smiled while stabbing me in the back. Call my dad, I said, reaching for my planner. Tell him to keep next Saturday free. We're having a family dinner. What are you planning? Avery asked, a slow smile spreading across her face. I started writing invitations. Just a small gathering, to announce my new job, of course. I looked up, steel in my eyes. And a few other things my dear sister needs to hear. You're really inviting everyone? Ira asked, helping me arrange fresh flowers in my newly furnished apartment. The morning sun streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, a perk of my new executive salary. Everyone, I confirmed. Mom, Dad, Layla, Joey, Victoria, even some of the hospital board members who got scammed. And you're sure about this? He wrapped his arms around me from behind, hands resting protectively over our growing baby bump. The doorbell rang. Dad walked in carrying a thick manila envelope. Got what you asked for, sweetheart, he said, placing it on the kitchen counter. Financial records, charity documents, everything Victoria's legal team could find. Thanks, Dad. I hugged him. How's Mom taking the dinner invitation? He sighed, loosening his tie. She's suspicious, keeps asking if you're trying to apologize to Layla for ruining her wedding. Classic Angela, Ira muttered. My phone buzzed. Avery. Joey's ex agreed to come. She's bringing receipts. Perfect, I said, then turned to Dad. You might want to sit down for this part. I pulled out my laptop, showing him the emails between Mom and Layla. His face darkened as he read. They deliberately sabotaged your career? Your own mother and sister? For years, I nodded. Every time I got close to success, they'd interfere. But that's not even the worst part. Ira pulled up the charity documentation. Dad's hands shook as he reviewed the numbers. Those sick children, he whispered. All that money. Where did it go? Layla's secret account in the Caymans, I said. Victoria's team traced it. The doorbell rang again. Victoria swept in, elegant as always. The board members are confirmed, she announced. And Joey's looking forward to your reconciliation dinner. Poor boy has no idea. Are we being cruel? I asked suddenly. Ambushing them like this? Cruel? Dad stood up, voice firm. They stole from sick children. They systematically destroyed your opportunities. They humiliated you at your sister's wedding. He took my hands. This isn't cruelty, Serenity. This is justice. Besides, Victoria added, I've already alerted the relevant authorities. They're just waiting for our signal. Ira checked his watch. 24 hours until dinner. You ready for this? I looked around at my support system, my real family. Dad, steady and strong. Ira, loving and protective. Victoria, powerful and strategic. Avery, loyal and fierce. Ready? I picked up the manila envelope, feeling the weight of truth in my hands. I've been ready my whole life. Tomorrow we serve justice with a side of karma. The doorbell chimed at exactly 7 p.m. Layla breezed in first, designer handbag swinging, Joey trailing behind her. Little sister. She air-kissed my cheeks. Love what you've done with the place, though I'm surprised you can afford it on a freelancer's salary. Actually, Victoria stepped forward, champagne glass in hand. Your sister's our new marketing director. Layla's perfect smile froze. What? Mom rushed in, flustered. Sorry we're late. Traffic was... She stopped short, noticing the hospital board members mingling by the window. What are they doing here? All will be explained, I said, gesturing to the dining table. Please, everyone, take your seats. Layla grabbed my arm as I passed. What game are you playing? No games, I smiled. Just dinner. The doorbell rang again. Joey's ex-girlfriend Sarah walked in, turning heads. Sarah? Joey stood up. What's she doing here? Sit down, honey, Layla hissed, her knuckles white around her water glass. Before we eat, I announced, standing at the head of the table. I have some announcements. First, yes, I'm pregnant. The father is Ira, my partner of 8 months, who some of you tried very hard to keep me from dating. Mom shifted uncomfortably. Second, I've accepted a position at Sterling Enterprises. The same position you. I looked at Layla. Told them I was unqualified for last year. I never, Layla started. Save it, Avery interrupted, distributing folders to each guest. Page 1. Emails between you and your mother systematically sabotaging Serenity's career. The room erupted in murmurs as people began reading. Page 2. I continued, my voice steady. Documentation of diverted charity funds from last year's Children's Cancer Gala. Joey's face drained of color. Layla, what is this? It's lies, she shrieked, standing up. Serenity's always been jealous of me. Page 3. Victoria cut in smoothly. Bank statements showing transfers to Sarah's account last month. Hush money, I believe. Sarah stood up. She paid me to stay quiet about their affair during your engagement, Joey. She and your best man. I have the text to prove it. The room exploded into chaos. Mom started crying. Joey stormed out, and Layla lunged for the folders. That's enough. Dad's voice boomed across the table. Layla, sit down. There are federal agents outside waiting to discuss the charity fraud. This can go one of two ways. Layla collapsed into her chair, mascara running. I placed my hand on my stomach, feeling my baby kick. The truth always comes out, sister dear. You taught me that at your wedding. Remember? The doorbell rang one final time. 2 federal agents entered my apartment, badges gleaming under the chandelier light. The taller one spoke first. Mrs. Barnes, we have some questions about the Children's Cancer Foundation funds. This is ridiculous. Mom jumped up. Serenity, stop this right now. Tell them this is all a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? One of the hospital board members stood, waving the documentation. $3 million meant for pediatric cancer treatment just disappeared? Those were real children, real families. Layla's composure cracked. Daddy, please, you have to help me. Help you? Dad's voice was ice. Like you helped your sister? By destroying every opportunity she ever had? Joey returned, his face hard. I just got off the phone with Mark. My best man confirmed everything. The affair, the threats, all of it. He turned to Layla. 3 years. You were sleeping with him for 3 years. Joey, baby, I can explain. Save it for your lawyer, Victoria interrupted, nodding to the agents. The Sterling Foundation will be pressing charges for the embezzlement. Layla spun toward me, mascara streaking down her face. You planned this. You orchestrated this whole thing just to destroy me. No, Layla. I remained seated, one hand on my belly. You destroyed yourself. I'm just making sure everyone sees the truth. The truth? She laughed hysterically. The truth is you've always been pathetic, always in my shadow. You couldn't stand that I had everything you wanted. Everything I wanted? I stood slowly. I wanted a sister who would support me, not sabotage me. I wanted a mother who would love me, not scheme against me. I wanted honesty, not manipulation. Mom started sobbing. I only wanted what was best. Best for who, Mom? For Layla? While you were writing emails to ruin my career, did you ever once think about what was best for me? The agent stepped forward. Mrs. Barnes, we need you to come with us. Wait! Layla grabbed her purse. I can pay it back. All of it. Just give me time. Time's up, Victoria said. The board has already voted. We're pressing full charges. As the agents led Layla away, she turned back one last time. I hate you, Serenity. I've always hated you. I know, I replied softly. That's why I had to stop you. Joey followed them out, pausing at the door. I'm filing for annulment tomorrow. I'm sorry, Serenity. I should have seen it sooner. The room fell silent except for Mom's quiet sobs. Dad put his arm around me. You did the right thing, sweetheart, he whispered. It's over now. But looking at Mom's broken face, at the scattered evidence of years of betrayal, I knew it wasn't over. It was just beginning. The morning after the dinner, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. News of Layla's arrest had spread like wildfire. The press is having a field day, Avery said, scrolling through headlines. Socialite steals from sick children, wedding bell to prison cell. Mom burst into my office at Sterling Enterprises, makeup smeared. You have to drop the charges. She's your sister. Mrs. Hayes. Victoria appeared behind her. This is a place of business. Security will escort you out. You, Mom pointed at Victoria. You turned my daughters against each other. No, Angela. Dad walked in, looking exhausted. We did that. Years of favoritism, of letting Layla get away with everything while punishing Serenity for existing. We did this. Russell? How can you say that? Because it's true. He pulled out his phone. I just got off the phone with our lawyer. The investigation into the charity fraud led them to discover something else. Care to explain these transfers from our retirement account to Layla's Cayman account? Mom's face went white. You knew? I whispered. You knew she was stealing from sick children and you helped her hide it? She needed the money. Mom collapsed into a chair. Her lifestyle, her image, she couldn't maintain it on Joey's salary alone. Victoria pressed a button on her desk. Did you get all that? A police officer stepped out from the adjacent room, recorder in hand. We did, Miss Sterling. Mrs. Hayes, we'll need you to come with us. As they led Mom away, she turned to me. I only ever wanted what was best for the family. No, Dad's voice cracked. You wanted what was best for Layla, and now you'll both pay the price. After they left, Joey appeared in the doorway. The hospital board asked me to deliver this. He handed me a letter. They're naming the new pediatric wing after you. The money Victoria donated to replace what Layla stole. It's going to help so many kids. Thank you, Joey, I said softly. I'm sorry about everything. He smiled sadly. Don't be. Some truths hurt, but we need to hear them. Ira arrived just then, still in his surgical scrubs. Just finished a successful operation. How are you holding up? Better than my mother and sister, I said, leaning into his embrace. They're both facing charges now. Dad cleared his throat. I filed for divorce. 35 years of marriage ending like this. Not ending. I corrected him, taking his hand, transforming into something honest. Victoria raised her water glass. To truth. To consequences, Avery added. To family, Dad said, looking at me with pride. The real kind. I touched my growing belly, feeling stronger than ever. To new beginnings. The autumn breeze rustled through the courtroom as the judge delivered the sentences. Layla, in her orange jumpsuit, looked nothing like the radiant bride she'd been. Mom sat beside her, both of them avoiding my gaze. 5 years for embezzlement, Avery whispered, squeezing my hand. 2 for your mom as an accessory. I watched them being led away, remembering all the family photos where I'd been pushed to the back, all the achievements that had been dismissed, all the times I'd been made to feel smaller. You okay? Ira asked, his hand protective over my now visible pregnancy. Better than okay, I replied, standing up. I'm free. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. Miss Townsend, how does it feel knowing your sister and mother will be in prison? It feels like justice, I said clearly. Not just for me, but for every child who will now receive the medical care they deserve. Victoria appeared, parting the crowd. The Sterling Foundation's new pediatric wing opens tomorrow. Care to do the honors? Dad joined us, looking younger somehow. I sold the house, he announced. The money's going to the foundation. Dad, you didn't have to. Yes, I did. He straightened his tie. It's time to build something new. Something better. Back at my office, I found Joey waiting with a surprise visitor. Mark, his former best man and Layla's affair partner. I came to apologize, Mark said, looking ashamed. And to return this. He handed me a flash drive. More evidence of Layla's schemes. Things even you didn't know about. Keep it, I said. The truth's already out. We don't need more casualties. After they left, I stood at my office window watching the city below. Ira wrapped his arms around me. The doctor called, he said. It's a girl. I smiled, thinking of all the things I'd teach her. Strength, honesty, self-worth. Everything I had to learn the hard way. My phone buzzed with a text from Layla. I hope you're happy now that you've destroyed everything. I typed back, I didn't destroy anything. I built something better from the truth. Dad appeared in my doorway. Ready for the foundation opening tomorrow? Actually, I said, I have a better idea. Let's make it a real celebration. Ira and I could get married there. Show everyone what real love and family looks like. Ira's face lit up. Right there in the pediatric wing? Where else? I laughed. It's time to make some new family photos, ones where everyone's true face shows. Looking at my reflection in the window, I finally saw what I'd been missing all those years. Not Layla's shadow, but my own light, burning bright and true.